Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. A very warm welcome to all our SIKH channel viewers. Thank you for joining me today on this special show where we are going to be talking about the current ongoing protests that are happening in Delhi. You will have seen this no doubt on our media channels and social media. It's something that you can't miss because people over here in the UK, not just the UK, outside of India, are very passionate about raising awareness. Now, this is what this show is all about. So I'm going to be joined by 5 people on this panel. So before I introduce them to you, I just want you to imagine something that you worked for all your life, very hard. So your home, your job, your family, you're not able to provide for your kids. This is slowly being taken away from you. This is what's currently happening in Delhi. This is why farmers are currently protesting there. This is why currently the largest protest in human history is taking place. Over 250 million people are currently sitting at the Delhi borders. And it's just overwhelming to see how many Sangat around the world are coming together to raise their awareness because they feel so passionately about this. So joining me on today's show, I have Sukhi Atwal. So Sukhi, hello to you. Thank you for joining us today.
Hello.
Quick introduction about yourself.
So I'm Sukhi Atwal. I'm a financial advisor, but first and foremost, I'm a granddaughter of a farmer, a Kisaan. So this right now, it's like every moment, every day, what's happening kind of touches me in the heart, and it just feels like we're helpless, a little bit helpless right now.
Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us today. We've also got Rose Morok. Hi, Rose.
Hi, सत श्री अकाल. मैं रोज मरोक. मैं obviously ਅੱਜ ਦਾ ਮੇਰਾ introduction जो मैं देना चाहूंगी वही देना चाहूंगी कि मैं भी एक फार्मर ਦੀ बेटी ਹਾਂ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਇਸ ਟਾਈਮ ਇੰਡੀਆ 'ਚ ਬੈਠੇ ਪੂਰੀ ਸਿਚੁਏਸ਼ਨ ਨੂੰ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਆ, and that's why I'm here to talk about all this.
Thank you so much. We've also been joined by Ramanjit Siayan as well, who's a businessman.
Thank you. Hi, Khalsa, Fateh ji, Sat Sri Akal ji ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ. Hi everyone. So yeah, myself Ramanjit Singh Siayan, UK-based businessman, and so I thought of joining today just to share a bit of my views regarding the ongoing Kisaan protest at the moment, which is kind of relevant for all of us, across the world, So so I've joined here to share my views as well.
Of course. And we've also been joined by one of the youngest panelists. We've got Raaj Singh, who's 11 years old. So hello to you too, Raj.
To talk about the farmers in India and how I can raise awareness, and talk about how I can raise awareness on social media and if my friends of school know about it.
Fantastic. Thank you so much to all of you for joining in. Like we said, this is we're hopefully going to be raising awareness. ਅਸੀਂ ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰੀਏ ਤਾਂ ਇੰਗਲਿਸ਼ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ ਕਰੀਏ so we can reach more people. So thank you so much for taking time out today and joining me on today's panel. So my first question, which I'm going to throw out there, and like I said, I want everybody to get involved, but Rose, I'll come to you first. What are your understanding of the 3 laws, the 3 bills that the Indian government is trying to pass?
I'll say those in my understanding, what I've understood through the documents, through a couple of videos that have been sent to me by my friends who are lawyers. So basically, so the 3 laws, basically, first law in a very simple language is a contract farming, basically where government is doing an agreement of like price assurance and through like legal services. But in what are the advantages and disadvantages, we'll share those afterwards. We'll have a good discussion on that. Second one is all about the promotion and facilitation, which is talking about that the farmers can sell their produce out of mandi, and basically mandis should be finished and all that. And then again, there is a lot of pros and cons of that as well. And then third law is, which was always there, but they have just amended that bill really, which is about the hoarding of all the commodities and all the jo bhi fasਲਾਂ ਦੀਆਂ ਆਪਣੀਆਂ ਦਾਲਾਂ everything. ਉਹਦੇ ਚ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕੀ ਚੇਂਜਸ ਕੀਤੇ ਆ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਿ ਕਿਸਾਨ ਨਹੀਂ ਖੁਸ਼ ਹੈਗੇ ਉਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ. ਇਹ 3 ਬਿੱਲ ਪਾਸ ਕੀਤੇ ਗਏ.
Hanji. And Baji, coming over to you as well. Baji, so what are your thoughts? What are your views? And you know, like we said, laws are they've tried to pass them during a global pandemic. Why do you think this is?
Yeah.
Why do you think the government has done this?
Well, I mean, regarding that, I mean, if we rewind back a couple of years ago, this same kind of situation happened with the Tamil Nadu farmers as well, back in, I think, 2017, 2018 time. And they actually did a protest as well, which was a national protest in Delhi, just based on the MSP. So, what you mentioned regarding this contractual bill, you would say, was being passed during the lockdown. I mean, as we all know, I mean, the whole world has been suffering from the lockdown and whatever's been going on. But
Yeah.
the way I see this, I personally see this as a business agreement rather than something. I mean, we've seen many, speeches where they're saying, "Oh, this contract is in favor for the farmers," but technically they're giving favor to the businessmen, the entrepreneurs who are there. So the way I see it is it's a business agreement rather than something to make the economy strong of India. In the agriculture side. So I see it as a business prospectus.
Yeah. Sukhi, coming over to yourself. Now, all of us have probably seen some of the footage coming out from these protests where we've seen elderly people being beaten, tear gas thrown at peaceful protesters. Remember, this is a peaceful protest that's happening. These people have left their homes for days, for weeks on end to fight for their rights. And yet they're being attacked. We've seen images of people who are at the age of our grandparents bleeding, battered and blue. How does that make you feel, and what do you make of this and seeing all this coming through from India?
This is all a method to kind of change what's actually happening, the actual storyline of what's happening. They're trying to depict it as something totally different to what it is. Like you said, it is a peaceful protest, and especially in India, straight from day one, it's been like we shanti the protest hona wa. And then when the government bring out the big guns, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ reaction ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਵਾ। ਉਹ ਸੋਚਦੇ ਆ ਵੀ ਜੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਅਟੈਕ ਕਰੋਗੇ, ਸਾਡੇ ਸਿਆਣੇ ਨੂੰ ਅਟੈਕ ਕਰੋਗੇ ਵੀ ਮੋਰਿਓ ਕੋਈ ਕੁਛ ਕਰੂਗਾ, ਅਸੀਂ ਉੱਤੇ ਫਿਰ ਮੁੜ ਕੇ ਫੁੱਲ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ warfare ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ। And that's what this is about. This is about trying to set it up to hurt the people that are going to get hurt the easiest, but are also going to cause the most uproar. And then the community will then defend. And instead of being peaceful, they're asking for action. So every action has a reaction. And they're taking these actions to make us react. And that's what they're doing. That's precisely what they're doing. It's all a way of manipulating emotions and to try and change what is a peaceful protest. And Pille Dento is being a Shanti Wala protest. They're trying to change the storyline. And that's what's happening. But you feel like we can't do anything. It's heartbreaking. I know we're raising awareness and I know that it's being picked up on. But let's be fair, it's took weeks of protesting for the world to actually say, okay, we have to give an opinion.
Again, I'm throwing this out to everybody on the panel. Were you shocked to see that nobody in the UK, any mainstream media in the UK, weren't picking up on this story? It's taken a long time for everybody to be doing these protests and raising awareness, whether that's been through social media, for the BBC, for example, to finally listen, for Sky News to finally publish something on their page. I'll come back to Rose first.
Yeah, I think what I was going to say, I just wanted to add something about the Indian media again. Like I said before, my parents asked them, they are in India and they're going through this, and they're actually not from Punjab. So this is something I'm trying to raise on Facebook as well, that through social media as well, this whole bill is not affecting only farmers in Punjab or farmers in Haryana, because that's the main news they're showing. ਮੇਰੇ ਮਮ ਡੈਡ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਬੈਠੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਜਦੋਂ ਰੋਜ਼ ਅਸੀਂ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਰੋਜ਼ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਮਮ ਡੈਡ ਇਹੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ, ਇੱਥੇ ਲੋਕੀ ਇਸ ਟਾਈਮ ਬੈਠੇ ਆ, ਵੇਟ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਆ ਕਿ ਕਦੋਂ ਇਹ ਦੰਗੇ ਬਣਨ, ਅਸੀਂ ਆ ਸਰਦਾਰ ਚੱਕ ਕੇ ਬਾਹਰ ਮਾਰੀਏ ਤੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਜ਼ਮੀਨਾਂ ਤੇ ਕਬਜ਼ੇ ਕਰੀਏ. That's the mahal is in India right now. Okay, so Indian media, it's their responsibility to at least take some action. ਜਦੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਇੰਡੀਆ 'ਚ ਵੱਡੇ ਹੋਏ ਆ, ਅਸੀਂ ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ ਜੈ ਜਵਾਨ ਜੈ ਕਿਸਾਨ ਦੇ ਨਾਰੇ ਲਾਉਂਦੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਸੀ, ਠੀਕ ਆ। ਅੱਜ ਉਹ ਕਿਸਾਨ ਕਿੱਥੇ ਗਿਆ? ਅੱਜ ਜਵਾਨ ਵੀ ਭੁੱਲ ਗਿਆ ਤਾਂ ਅੱਜ ਕਿਸਾਨ ਵੀ ਭੁੱਲ ਗਏ ਇੰਡੀਅਨ ਮੀਡੀਆ ਨੂੰ ਸਭ ਕੁਝ। And it's very frustrating ਜਦੋਂ ਕਿ ਆਪਣੇ ਪੂਰੇ ਕਰੋਨਾ ਵਾਇਰਸ ਦੇ ਟਾਈਮ ਤੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰਿਆਂ ਨੇ ਲੰਗਰ ਲਾਏ ਸੀ ਤੇ ਇਹੀ ਮੀਡੀਆ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਕਵਰ ਕਰ ਰਿਹਾ ਸੀ।
ਹਾਂਜੀ।
ਅੱਜ ਉਹੀ ਆਪਣੇ ਜਦੋਂ ਲੰਗਰ ਲਾ ਰਹੇ ਆ ਤੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉਗਰਵਾਦੀ ਕਹਿ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ, ਆਤੰਕਵਾਦੀ ਕਹਿ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ। ਦੱਸੋ ਕਿੱਥੋਂ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਹੈ ਇਹ? ਇਟਸ ਨॉट ਫੇਅਰ। ਓਕੇ ਫਾਈਨ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪ੍ਰੋਟੈਸਟ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਵਰ ਕਰਨਾ, ਘੱਟ ਤੋਂ ਘੱਟ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਚੰਗਾ ਕੰਮ ਹੋ ਰਿਹਾ ਉਹ ਤਾਂ ਕਵਰ ਕਰ ਲਓ। ਕਿੰਨੇ ਪਿੰਡਾਂ ਦੇ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਫੀਡ ਕਰ ਰਿਹਾ ਉੱਥੇ ਬਿਠਾ ਕੇ, ਕਿੰਨੇ ਗਰੀਬਾਂ ਦੀਆਂ ਦੁਆਵਾਂ ਲੈ ਰਿਹਾ ਉੱਥੇ ਬੈਠੇ, ਪਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਦਿਖਾ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ। ਤੁਸੀਂ ਦਿਖਾ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ ਜੋ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਗਲਤ ਹੋ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ। ਐਂਡ ਦੈਨ ਕਮ ਟੂ ਆਵਰ UK media. How can we blame our UK media when our own prime minister doesn't even know what the hell is going on? I'm sorry to excuse my language. I get really agitated because my family is involved. When ਜਦੋਂ ਆਪਣੇ prime minister ਨੂੰ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਪਤਾ ਕਿ ਉੱਥੇ ਕੀ ਚੱਲ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ, ਠੀਕ ਹੈ, ਤਾਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਮੀਡੀਆ ਨੂੰ ਕਹੀਏ, ਆਪਣੀ ਤਾਂ ਹੀ ਆਪਣੀ ਜ਼ਿੰਮੇਵਾਰੀ ਬਣੀ ਹੈ ਨਾ ਕਿ ਆਪਾਂ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਚੱਕੀਏ, ਹੁਣ ਆਪਾਂ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਅੱਗੇ ਵਧਾਈਏ। ਕਿਤੇ ਨਾ ਕਿਤੇ ਆਈ ਥਿੰਕ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਦੀ ਮੀਡੀਆ, ਇੰਡੀਆ ਦੀ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਕਿ ਆਪਾਂ ਜੋ ਕੁਝ ਵੀ ਮੀਡੀਆ 'ਚ ਦਿਖਾਵਾਂਗੇ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੇ ਉਹੀ ਸੱਚ ਮੰਨ ਲੈਣਾ, ਇਹਨਾਂ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਕੁਝ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰ ਪਾਉਣਾ। ਪਰ ਆਈ ਥਿੰਕ ਦੇ ਡਿਡ ਨਾਟ ਟਰਸਟ the social media power of these youngsters. Okay, these youngsters can change the world if it comes to that. Hajay, trust me, it's not got to the these, like Raaj will totally agree on that. Ye Hajay India the youngsters ne chakya hai. Jadon apne bahar de youngsters ne bhi chak liya na ek kam, then they cannot stop it.
Definitely,
and it's something really, it's a very shameful thing, because you work in media. You know, when you did your degrees, you took an oath that we will present things the way they are, and that's their job. That's their, let public decide what it is. At least you show what it is, not like Amy onu cover up kari jo kise ho cheez jana. It doesn't work like that.
I think there's a lot of propaganda that's been used. With Boris Johnson, obviously he made that really silly mistake when Tandesi was explaining to him about the situation. Do you think he purposely was trying to just brush past the issue? Because, like I said, he's making talks where he is going to be in India. I think he's already gone to India to talk about trade deals. So do you think he doesn't want to jeopardize the UK's relationship with India, and this is why he doesn't seem to want to say anything about the protests?
I think without a doubt, he
needs to understand that protest. Yeah, it is, but he needs to understand that protest directly or indirectly is going to affect this deal as well, because India is one of the 65% or 70% of Indian population is farmers. They are farmers. So if it comes to that tomorrow, you can't think that if I don't stand for farmers, it won't. Everything is not politics. Politics, works with people. And India is a democratic country. So if you don't listen to public, then, it's not going to work.
Of course. Coming over to you, yeah, go on, Sukhi.
I was going to say, I do think Boris Johnson put it on. I think he's fully aware of what's happening. I think he just didn't want to become embroiled in a conversation that could then affect any trade deal happening. And he did kind of the standard Boris Johnson, oh, I'm not really sure. What are we on about? Kind of situation. He knows exactly. You cannot be a leader of a country and not know what's going on with one of the largest countries in the world. It's just not, it's impossible. And especially the way media's covering it. It was just purely, he didn't want to be drawn into that conversation, which is sad because, we and are, Indians are a population of this country. And to deny and not understand what's going on is ridiculous.
And I do think it made him look like he was being very silly. So it's not done him any favours at all.
No, Raj, but I think he's used to that.
Yeah. Raj, just coming over to you. So how did you hear about the protests that are happening
in Birmingham?
Yeah.
I was so it was just I was just sitting there normally, and then my grandma turned on the TV, and I was like, why are all these people protesting? Why have they gone out of their homes to protest? And then my grandma said that, it's because of all the farmers in India, and there's been laws that have been passed, and people are getting angry about it, and and then to see on social media, to see on stuff like that, to see that there's farmers being beaten up by the police, but then those very same farmers are giving langar to the police that have beaten them up, is heartwarming to see that. Look, that's that hostility that we give to the people, and then like to see that they're peacefully protesting, and to see that, because there's a word in there that actually means peaceful, and that's like, yeah, just to see that they're peacefully protesting, and to see that the army has gone out shooting like tear gas and like water cannons at them. That's just like, why are you doing that? And then the government is calling them terrorists for peacefully protesting. But
How does that
the
make you
thing that kind
feel,
of,
Raj?
I feel like it's like upset actually, because like it's not fair that they're peacefully protesting and these
Mm-hmm.
laws have gone in place, and if you don't want to follow by those rules, you can't go to the courts of India. You'll have to have a government official come over to your house, and we don't know who the government official side is going to be on. So it's like,
Yeah.
why is it been put in place?
Do your friends know about what's happening as well in India?
No, no, because I know that like my Indian friends, I know that they obviously they know what's going on. But then when I have like my English friends and people who are not Indian, when
Yeah.
they like when I ask them, do you know anything about this? And they're like, what
No.
is it? Like, I'm foreign to this.
Yeah. So what do you think that we can do to help them understand what's happening and how it's going to impact us as well in the UK? Because if we didn't have any farmers, we won't have any food. So it's going to directly impact us whether we're living in India or not. So what do you think we can do?
I think that obviously like SIKH Channel and like TV shows like that, like news and stuff like that, they have like
Yeah.
good big social media platforms, and obviously you guys have been posting about it, but it's like the Indian people that actually see that. I think that we should
Yeah.
get involved with people like BBC, Sky News, and then instead of having them like a 2 second report about it, having like a full on like debate and stuff like that. I think we
Fantastic.
can raise
Fantastic.
awareness. Yeah, I think we can raise awareness by getting English celebrities to talk about it. And what can kind of concerns me the most is that the government of India, he's just sitting there like nothing's happening, when there's people from his country that have left their homes, that have left their villages from days, haven't
Mm,
slept in ages, just to go protest. And it's upsetting to see that there's actually farmers committing suicide due to these rules, and that's what gets me angry about all of this stuff. Because the government of India, he's not doing anything about it. He's got no concern about it. That's how he's acting towards this, and that's what gets me angry.
if the Prime Minister of India, Modi, if he was listening to you right now, what would you want to say to him?
I would say, look, this is what the people, all the farmers, it's not just farmers from Punjab, it's farmers from all parts of India, all together protesting. And like, obviously, they want their rights back. You should just give them what they want. Because are you rather just going to sit around all day and do nothing? Or are you going to actually do something for your country for once?
Fantastic, fantastic. Thank you for that, Raj. Ramanjit, coming over to you. So
Mm.
there have been protests and rallies taking place in the UK. People from all over the cities have been getting together to stand in solidarity for the farmers. What would you like to say to those people that are participating? And do you think that these protests are helping, the ones that are happening outside
This,
of
well, I mean, there's two sides to it, Sukhi here, because it is
Mhm.
actually. I mean, on the one side, when we see it actually is making help, because end
Yeah,
of the day, ਇੱਕ awareness ਵੱਧ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ. It's not just
Hanji,
in India. ਇਹ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਕਿਸਾਨ ਦਾ ਮਸਲਾ ਹੈ, ਸਿਰਫ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਤੱਕ ਸੀਮਤ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ ਹੁਣ. ਇਹ ਪੂਰੀ
Hanji.
ਦੁਨੀਆ 'ਚ ਜਿੰਨੇ ਵੀ ਤਮਾਮ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਹੈ, ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੀ ਆਪਣੀ, because even with us who are in this conversation as well, kite na kite, we've got our link. Although, I mean, for example, I'm being born and bred in the UK. Our
Mhm.
ancestors belong from Punjab and India, right? So, kite na
Yeah,
kite, ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਰੂਹ ਆ ਉਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਜੁੜੀ ਹੋ ਆ, ਉੱਥੇ ਉਸ
Hanji.
ਮਿੱਟੀ ਨਾਲ, ਉਸ ਦੇਸ਼ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ. ਪਰ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਗੱਲ ਹੈਗੀ ਹੈ regarding the rallies and protests are happening, outside India. One side,
Mhm.
ਕਿਤੇ ਨਾ ਕਿਤੇ ਇੱਕ awareness create ਹੋ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ, especially in the UK. I mean, we're living in a digital world, where in social
Hanji.
media ਜ਼ਮਾਨਾ ਹੈ, ਛੇਤੀ ਚੀਜ਼
Hanji.
ਪਹੁੰਚ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ. With one click of a button, we can record something evidently and put it on there, and
Yeah.
it reaches to many people. So ਜੇ digital platform ਨਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ, maybe this issue of this protest would have been similar to a war, or it would have been
Yeah.
some sort of situation where the national media in India or the government of India would have got an opportunity to actually misconcept ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਆ changing this protest to a different level, which it would have been a horrific thing. But I would say the outside rallies, I mean, it's kind of had given it a good awareness. But ਕਿਤੇ ਨਾ ਕਿਤੇ I think ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਚ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨਾ ਜੋਸ਼ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਹੋਸ਼ ਗਵਾ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਆ ਅਸੀਂ. We've become so jazbati with so many things that, ਅਸੀਂ ਸੋਚਦੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਯਾਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਇੱਕ ਐਸੀ ਜਗ੍ਹਾ 'ਚ ਬੈਠੇ ਹਾਂ where we have to obey rules as well, right? ਜੋ government ਦੀ rule regulation ਹੁੰਦਾ ਖਾਸ ਕਰਕੇ being in a situation where we've got good government guidelines as well with all this pandemic going on. But ਕਿਤੇ ਨਾ ਕਿਤੇ I think what I'm seeing as a viewer, what I'm seeing is that ਕਿਤੇ ਨਾ ਕਿਤੇ the concept of having a protest based on the Kisaan and the farmers and stuff like that, it's going to a bit of a slight different direction. That's just my personal kind of, what I've noticed, which, I mean, because I don't want to, I don't want to mention, but ਕਿਤੇ ਨਾ ਕਿਤੇ, ਮੈਨੂੰ ਇਦਾਂ ਮਹਿਸੂਸ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ 84 ਦੇ ਦੰਗਿਆਂ ਨਾਲ refer ਕਰੀ ਜਾ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ ਇਸ ਮੁੱਦੇ ਨੂੰ, because it's a complete different concept.
I totally agree with you on that, Raman. I totally agree with you on that.
ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਅੱਜ ਦਾ ਮੁੱਦਾ ਹੈ ਇਹ ਖਾਲੀ ਸਿੱਖਾਂ ਤੱਕ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ, ਪੰਜਾਬੀਆਂ ਤੱਕ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ. You've got Rajasthani farmers, you've got Bihar ਦੇ farmers, UP ਦੇ, Uttar Pradesh ਦੇ, Haryana ਦੇ, are sat in one platform shoulder to shoulder, right? So there's no religious kind of thing or caste related anything. I mean, ਕੁਛ ਮਹੀਨੇ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਜੋ ਰੌਲਾ ਪਿਆ ਸੀਗਾ ਦਲਿਤ ਦਾ, low caste people, ਅੱਜ ਕੱਲ ਉਹੀ ਦਲਿਤ ਨਾਲ ਬੈਠੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ, in the protest. ਕਿਤੇ ਨਾ ਕਿਤੇ, there's awareness, there's a bit of a misconception. ਪਰ ਨਾਲ ਜੇ ਦੇਖਿਆ ਜਾਵੇ ਕਿ ਕਿਤੇ ਨਾ ਕਿਤੇ ਕਿਸਾਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਚੀਜ਼ ਧਾਰਮਿਕ ਸਥਾਨ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰ ਸਕੇ, ਜਿਹੜੀ ਚੀਜ਼ ਸਿਆਸਤ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰ ਸਕੀ, ਇਹ ਕਿਸਾਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਰਤਾ. ਸਿੱਖ, ਹਿੰਦੂ, ਮੁਸਲਮਾਨ ਸਾਰੇ ਇਕੱਠੇ ਇੱਕ ਜਗ੍ਹਾ 'ਚ ਬੈਠੇ ਬਗਾਵਤ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ.
ਹਾਂਜੀ.
That's one big achievement I consider, that all minorities of faith, ਭਾਵੇਂ low class ਹੋਵੇ or the higher class, ਉਹ ਸਾਰੇ ਇਕੱਠੇ ਹੋ ਕੇ ਕੋਈ ਆਲੂ ਛਿਲ ਰਿਹਾ, ਕੋਈ ਲੰਗਰ ਪਕਾ ਰਿਹਾ, ਕੋਈ eating together,
Yeah, the ekta, the unity is better.
So the unity has gone stronger there. ਜਿੱਥੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਦੇਖ ਰਹੇ ਸੀ, regarding footage of where the police officers ਲਾਠੀਆਂ ਮਾਰ ਰਹੇ ਆ ਬਜ਼ੁਰਗਾਂ ਨੂੰ, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਿਸਾਨ ਆ, ਉਹੀ ਕਿਸਾਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਲੰਗਰ ਛਕਾ ਰਹੇ ਆ, ਉਹ ਹੁਣ ਉਲਟਾ ਕਿਸਾਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਹੋ ਗਏ. This is what you call I think I would say the humanity side of things has woken up amongst people, I would say.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Rose,
totally
what did you want to say?
I think I totally agree with what Raman said, that what we're doing in UK, Canada, USA, I think very good. We are trying to raise awareness. We're trying to, help the Indian farmers. But we do have to respect the laws of the country that you're living in. And please, ਆਪਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਨਾ ਮੈਂ I know probably ਕਈ ਲੋਕੀ ਮੇਰੇ ਨਾਲ agree ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋਣਗੇ, ਆਪਾਂ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਕਿਸੇ ਨਾ ਕਿਤੇ ਇੱਕ ਸਿੱਖੀ ਦਾ ਮੁੱਦਾ ਬਣਾਈ ਜਾ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ. It's not just about Sikhism, it's about ਕਿਸਾਨ. ਤਾਂ ਹੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਵੀ ਉੱਥੇ ਕਿਸਾਨ ਏਕਤਾ ਦਾ ਮੁੱਦਾ ਬਣਾਇਆ ਹੈ. ਅਗਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਦੇਖੋ ਉੱਥੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਿਸਾਨ ਬੈਠੇ ਉਹ ਹਰੀਆਂ ਪੱਗਾਂ ਬੰਨ ਕੇ ਬੈਠੇ ਆ. ਕਿਉਂ ਬੈਠੇ ਆ? ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਉਹ ਕਿਸਾਨ ਏਕਤਾ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਆ. ਮੈਂ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਸਾਡਾ ਰੋਜ਼ ਦੀ ਫੋਨ ਕਾਲ ਮੈਂ ਬੈਕ ਹੋਮ ਕਰਦੀ ਹਾਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਫਰੈਂਡਸ ਨਾਲ, ਆਪਣੇ ਮਮ ਡੈਡ ਨਾਲ, ਸਭ ਨਾਲ. ਹਜੇ ਮਤਲਬ ਕਈ ਇਹੋ ਜਿਹੇ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਤਮਿਲਨਾਡੂ ਜਾਂ ਸਾਊਥ ਦੇ ਫਾਰਮਰਸ ਨੂੰ ਪਹੁੰਚਣ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਜਾ ਰਿਹਾ ਇੱਥੇ ਦਿੱਲੀ. ਓਕੇ, ਉਹ ਸਾਰੇ ਬਾਰਡਰਾਂ ਤੇ, ਯੂਪੀ ਦੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਬਾਰਡਰ ਇਸ ਟਾਈਮ ਕਿਸਾਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਪੂਰੇ ਰੁਕੇ ਪਏ ਆ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਯੂਪੀ ਦਾ ਬਾਰਡਰ ਹੀ ਕ੍ਰਾਸ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਨ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਜਾ ਰਿਹਾ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਯੂਪੀ ਚ ਗਵਰਨਮੈਂਟ ਹੈਗੀ ਆ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਕਿ ਇਸ ਟਾਈਮ ਪਾਵਰ ਵਿੱਚ ਆ, BJP obviously. But I think I'll be honest with you, second thing I do not agree with is ਜਿਹੜਾ ਕਿ ਆਪਾਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਪ੍ਰਾਈਮ ਮਿਨਿਸਟਰ ਦੀ ਇਲਾਕੇ ਤੇ ਜੁੱਤੀਆਂ ਮਾਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ, ਯੂ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ. ਠੀਕ ਹੈ, ਉਹ ਪ੍ਰਾਈਮ ਮਿਨਿਸਟਰ ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਹੋ ਸਕਦਾ. ਇਟਸ ਨਾਟ ਦ ਪ੍ਰਾਈਮ ਮਿਨਿਸਟਰ ਹੂ ਇਜ਼ ਰਿਸਪੋਂਸਿਬਲ ਫॉर ਦਿਸ. ਪ੍ਰੈਜ਼ੀਡੈਂਟ ਨੇ ਵੀ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਅਪਰੂਵ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੈ. ਠੀਕ ਹੈ, ਸੋ ਰੈਦਰ ਦੈਨ ਆਪਾਂ ਇੱਕ ਬੰਦੇ ਨੂੰ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਦੈਨ ਯੂ ਹਰਟਿੰਗ ਲੋਟਸ ਆਫ ਪੀਪਲਸ ਇਮੋਸ਼ਨਸ. ਠੀਕ ਆ, ਆਪਾਂ ਲਾਜ਼ ਦੇ ਅਗੇਂਸਟ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ, ਆਪਾਂ ਗਵਰਨਮੈਂਟ ਨੂੰ ਉਹਦੇ ਅਗੇਂਸਟ ਉਹਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ. ਆਪਾਂ ਇਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਹਿ ਰਹੇ, ਆਪਾਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਗੰਦੀ ਲੈਂਗੁਏਜ ਯੂਜ਼ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ. ਪਲੀਜ਼ ਟਰਾਈ ਨਾਟ ਟੂ ਡੂ ਦੈਟ, ਹੈ ਨਾ. I think then that would harm their whole protest that they're doing very peacefully, very nicely. Like ਉਹਨੇ ਭਾਜੀ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਉੱਥੇ ਲੰਗਰ ਚੱਲ ਰਿਹਾ, ਉੱਥੇ ਅਜ਼ਾਨ ਚੱਲ ਰਹੀਆਂ, ਉੱਥੇ ਕੀਰਤਨ ਚੱਲ ਰਿਹਾ, ਉੱਥੇ ਹਵਨ ਚੱਲ ਰਿਹਾ, ਸਭ ਕੁਝ ਇੱਕ ਜਗ੍ਹਾ ਤੇ ਹੋ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ. ਪਹਿਲੀ ਵਾਰ
ਹਾਂਜੀ
ਇੰਡੀਆ 'ਚ ਕਿਸਾਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਜੋ 2 ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਸਿਖਾਈਆਂ ਪੂਰੀ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਨੂੰ, ਇੱਕ ਤੇ ਕਿ ਏਕਤਾ 'ਚ ਕਿੰਨੀ ਤਾਕਤ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਔਰ ਦੂਸਰੀ
ਹਾਂਜੀ
ਆਪਣਾ ਹੱਕ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਮੰਗੀਦਾ ਹੈ।
ਹਾਂਜੀ
ਐਂਡ
ਹਾਂਜੀ
ਆਪਾਂ ਜੇ
ਬਿਲਕੁਲ
ਉਹਨੂੰ ਨਹੀਂ ਅੱਗੇ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਜਾਵਾਂਗੇ ਨਾ, ਉਹ ਆਪਾਂ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਫਿਰ ਖਰਾਬ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ, ਕੀ ਫਾਇਦਾ ਉਹਦਾ।
ਦੇਖੋ ਜੀ,
I
ਨਾਲ ਇਹਦੇ
agree.
ਨਾਲ ਮੈਂ ਜ਼ਿਕਰ ਵੀ ਕਰਾਂ, ਲਾਈਕ ਨਾਲ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਖਾਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਨਾ ਆਪਣੇ ਕਲਾਕਾਰ ਵੀ, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਇੰਡਸਟਰੀ ਤੇ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਸ਼ਾਬਾਸ਼
ਹਾਂਜੀ
ਦੇਣੀ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਵੈਸੇ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਪਹਿਲੀ ਵਾਰੀ ਇਤਿਹਾਸ 'ਚ ਇਦਾਂ ਦਾ ਹੋਇਆ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਨਾਲ ਸੇਵਾ ਵੀ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਆ ਉੱਥੇ ਨਾਲ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਕਈ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਹੁਣ ਕਈ ਡਿਜੀਟਲ ਪਲੇਟਫਾਰਮ, ਕਈ ਕਹਿ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਈ ਟੀਵੀ ਚੈਨਲਸ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾਤਰ ਫੋਕਸ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਆ, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਉੱਥੇ ਆਰਟਿਸਟ ਆਏ ਆ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਇੰਟਰਵਿਊਜ਼ ਲੈ ਰਹੇ ਆ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਵੀ ਪੱਖ ਲੈ ਰਹੇ ਆ, ਪਰ ਨਾਲ ਇਹ ਵੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਵੀ ਨਾਲ ਲੱਗ ਕੇ ਸੇਵਾ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਉੱਥੇ। ਦੈਟਸ ਅ ਵੈਰੀ, I would say it's kind of created history here where they've shown the overside of an artist. Okay, ਅਸੀਂ ਤਾਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ as a glamorous on a screen, we see them as artists performing on music videos and everything. So hats off to them as well, who have come up, dedicated their social media pages, on this
do that
Kisan protests, and that's a big thing. I mean, jithe artist ho gaye, pracharak ho gaye, even the religious organizations have come together. ये पहली बार इधर
what
नज़ारा
about
देख रहे हैं सारे।
What about
I
the
think
Bollywood stars? You mentioned a lot of Punjabi artists have come forward. Are we surprised that not a lot of Bollywood stars who, do use the Punjabi culture and do come to Punjab and do these films, they've all kept
It,
quiet?
do-
Do you think
it,
they?
to be honest, it doesn't really surprise me क्योंकि देखो ना गल इत्थे आ जांदी है where like all of us know what happened on Twitter between Diljit Dosanjh and
Yes.
Kangana Ranaut and all that kind of conversation, what it was. But what I see it as is that ਅਸੀਂ ਕਿਹਨਾਂ ਤੇ time waste ਕਰੀ ਜਾ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ, ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਸਮਝ ਹੈਗੀ about the culture or anything. The
Angie,
people who are living in luxurious, in the limelight, ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੂੰ government ਵੱਲੋਂ ਵੀ funding ਮਿਲਦੀ ਹੈ, why would they go, why would they stand against the government? ਜਿਹੜੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪੈਸਾ ਦੇ ਰਹੇ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ security ਦੇ ਰਹੀ ਸਾਰੀ.
Angie, Angie. Sukhi,
So I see in a way that that the time is wasted on them. There's no point getting
okay,
any sort of feedback from them or response. I think it's a waste of time personally.
okay. Just before I go to Sukhi, Raj, I just want to come over to you because I know you wanted to say something.
Yeah. So I think that it's like the Prime Minister of India. I think that he's kind of like responsible for it, and then like he's like one part of the responsibility for causing all these protests. But then I think that his advisors and all of that, I think they've got something to do with it because they're the ones who's probably given him the idea to say, look, you can just do this, it'll be fine. And then he's the one who hasn't thought about anything, and then gone out and announced them, and he's not wondering now. He's probably wondering now what to do, or he's probably just sitting there not doing anything.
Fantastic. Sukhi, just coming over to you. So I've been along to these protests that have
yeah.
happened in London and Birmingham, and I was so surprised to see so many youngsters, a lot of them UK born, like yourself, like myself, like Baji said, it's UK but the passion that they had and the desire that they had, they wanted to be heard with their posters, with their chants. Like Rose says, some of them were using bad language. A lot of them have had anger, but do you think that anger isn't justified? Like, is justified because they can see what the Indian government is doing to the farmers? Like we said, they are being attacked. They are having tear gas, water cannon thrown at them. So, is their anger not justified?
Right. I think we need to kind of look at other protests. Their anger is justified. But if we look at what's just recently happened, Black Lives Matter, part of any protest is to educate. Now, if you come across aggressive and if you come across and you're shouting slogans that seem quite aggressive, you're not going to get your message across. What we need to do here is, like Black Lives Matter, we need to bring people on board. Now, to bring people on board, it's about education. So we need to look at how, when we're doing these rallies, we are educating other people. We are ਆਪਾਂ ਇੰਗਲੈਂਡ 'ਚ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ, ਸੋ ਮਲਟੀਕਲਚਰ ਸੋਸਾਇਟੀ ਆ, ਸੋ ਆਪਣਾ ਤਾਂ ਮੁੱਦਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਵਾ ਫਾਰਮਰਸ ਪ੍ਰੋਟੈਸਟ, ਤੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਇਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਕਾਰਾਈਜ਼ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਆ। ਬਟ ਇਮੈਜਿਨ ਜੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਇਹ ਰਾਲੀਆਂ ਦੇ ਥਰੂ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਐਜੂਕੇਟ ਕਰੀਏ, ਜਿਵੇਂ ਕਿ ਗੋਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ, ਜਿਹੜੀ ਸੋਸਾਇਟੀ 'ਚ ਅਸੀਂ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ, ਹੋਰ ਕਲਚਰਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ, ਇਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਇਹ ਪ੍ਰੋਟੈਸਟ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਆ। and we can bring them on board, ਜੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ show ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ like on video screens what's happening in India, that's the kind of route we need to go with these rallies. Anger is justified, but when you're angry, all anger does is bring up other anger, or it gives people fear. So if you go down a road and you've got 200 people who should be in their cars because it's a car rally, but they're actually out on the roads, they're disobeying the law, they're shouting, they're throwing flares in the air, that kind of thing, there's smoke, all of a sudden you've lost your message.
Absolutely.
You know, in India they're doing a peaceful protest, so if we're going to do protests here, it has to be peaceful. But let's print leaflets, let's give out leaflets to people explaining why we're doing what we're doing. Let's have websites set up that people can go refer to. What we need to do is get together as a community and say, this is what our agenda is and this is what's going to happen. You know, if we are doing, if this is for Kisaan, you know, protest, the colour is green, we stick to the colour green, we talk about the farmers. You know, go out on the road, go out with a hal, go out with a spade in your hand, show why you're protesting. I've seen the videos, and you know, it's not a car rally, it's not a car show, and I think the car rally, the word is wrong. This isn't a car show. This is about us showing what we're doing. It's not about who's got the latest car. It's not about who's not got the latest car. The tractors, I think, are amazing. I think when people come out in tractors, you're staying with the message, and I just think the message is slightly lost. You know, I heard from people who are not from our community, and I know Rose has as well, that they've happened to be in areas where these protests were happening at the weekend in the jewellery quarter, and they actually feared like what was going on. And that's the wrong message. That's not what we should be doing.
I've actually heard, just to fill in with what Sukhi just said, I've heard from a couple of friends who actually not from farmers' family at all, and they would wanted to be part of these rallies, but they felt so intimidated they had to leave. They were scared and they just left.
And I think that's it. I think it's like the language.
Yeah.
I'm not quite, personally, I'm not comfortable taking my children. I know Raaj, you was there, but I just think there's so much aggression going on currently. If it was a peaceful rally, I'd be the first one there. If we take the routes along how Nagar Kirtans go, obviously we don't have to have Guruji there because we're trying to keep to be making it open, but it's not just Sikh for ours. It's open to everybody. I think if we can do it a little bit that way, we might get the message across, because it works. It's amazing, and there is awareness, and you know,
I think the biggest prime example of that is the Kisaan who are sitting there doing the protest. They're doing it so calmly, so nicely. They've got stages set up where people come and speak. Awareness kar rahe, that's what they're doing, you know, awareness kar rahe. I think that's what we need to do as well.
See, when I was speaking to people at these protests, and like you said, you know, it could be very daunting to people from the outside thinking what's happening. You know, the whole of Birmingham was on lockdown, and they were feeling like they were pushed to those extreme measures for them to hit the headlines. They're thinking if it was a peaceful protest, it wouldn't have hit the headlines. This way, they've got their message across. But you know, do you think a peaceful protest would still be picked up by the media?
Like I said, with the farmers, with the tractors, that kind of thing, it works. This needs to be. I'm not saying we have to be quiet. We can be loud. We can be vocal. That's all absolutely brilliant. We have to be vocal because you know we can't quietly walk around snake down a road. It's not going to work. So we have to speak. But we need to make sure that everybody speaks with the same message. And there's lots of different messages. I was watching an amazing Instagram video about a rally in Australia. And there was two Nihang Singhs, young lads, educating a lady on what we were doing. And they were brilliant. They knew their facts. They knew what was going on in India. And she was listening. And then you got somebody coming in from behind who just started saying he had a poster, and he went off on a totally different agenda, you know, and it was like, I think it was Save Jaggi or, you know, Free Jaggi. And that's not what this is about. And that's, I think, where I think Baji said us earlier, Ramanjit, that we have to be a little bit careful that we keep to this particular message. And that's a separate protest that we need to do, but let's not mix protests. We're politically mixing different protests, and we need to stick to one protest. And yes, Khalistan is really important to us, and it's something that a lot of most of our community wants to have. But right now, that's not where we're going. And there's pictures on media with flags that say Khalistan, which it's not where we're going. We're going with farmers' protest, and that's where I'm a little bit like, I want to be part of it, but I don't necessarily approve of everything that's going on, and I'm quite frank about it, and I'll sit here and I say it. I think it's brilliant, but I think there's small minorities which are changing it to a different message, and it's not the message that I would want to right now stand for. Right now, it's about farmers' protest. It's about the colour green. It's about working that way, and if we can get that, and at the same time educate, then you know what, we're on a winner.
Brilliant.
But it does raise awareness, and I absolutely think that yes, they have raised awareness, and that's been great. But I think, like I said, there's a small minority of people who kind of maybe have got, and that's not. And I'm not saying that that's about Khalistan Free Juggy. I'm just saying some of them, it's a day out. It's get my car out, let's get out there, and they're losing the message.
Losing it. Ramanjit Badji, coming back over to yourself. So, like we've been saying, this is the largest protest in human history. There are over 250 million people.
Yeah.
Are you worried knowing that there's how many people are sitting at that border? It worries me to think what could happen. What if the Indian government, the army that they've got there, God forbid nothing like this happens, but does it worry you knowing how many people are peacefully protesting there, but what could potentially happen?
It does worry me. Obviously, it does worry. I mean, it's been so many months, the fact that, this issue has been continuous in the media as well, It does actually worry me, the fact that because now what's happening is what I see. I mean, we all have been following this, ਕਿਤੇ ਨਾ ਕਿਤੇ I feel there's been situations where the even ਜੋ protest ਹੋ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ, the farmers are sat there, the supporters are sat there peacefully doing everything ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਵੀ ਹੋਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਹੈ. ਕਿਤੇ ਨਾ ਕਿਤੇ there's a bit of a thing where it's happening where there's like something was triggering to cause a more conflict to actually ਕਿਸੇ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਕਿਸਾਨ ਡਰ ਕੇ ਦੌੜ ਜਾਣ ਇੱਥੋਂ.
ਹਾਂਜੀ.
Like, for example, like we've seen many deaths are happening, natural deaths as well. परसों चौथ ਜਿਹੜੀ खबर आई है, we all aware of that. We don't even know where the truth is. ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ, did he actually commit suicide or did he actually get killed? ਸਾਨੂੰ ਨਹੀਂ ਪਤਾ. We can't really comment. But ਕਹਿਣ ਦਾ ਮਤਲਬ the situation what I see now is a bit dangerous. What I see at the moment, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ you never know what's next. What's next to come. ਸਾਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੀ ਹੋਣਾ ਹੈ next where ਫਰਜ਼ ਕਰੋ ਜੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ the Kisaan and everyone they've actually arranged everything ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਰਹਿਣ ਦਾ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਕੱਪੜਿਆਂ ਦਾ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਖਾਣੇ ਦਾ for 6 months 6 ਮਹੀਨੇ ਦਾ ਰਾਸ਼ਨ ਇਕੱਠਾ ਕੀਤਾ. We don't know how long this protest is going to actually reach, how long it's going to be lasting. ਇਹਦਾ ਕੁਝ ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ what's going to happen tomorrow, what's going to happen the day after. So ਕਿਤੇ ਨਾ ਕਿਤੇ there is a bit of a fear with this whole situation. But you have this kind of positive thing comes in your head. The people who are involved, is a bit of there's a strong minority as well of this whole protest as well. ਜਿਹੜੇ ਲੋਕ are actually in the front line trying to back up the whole scenario. I think there's one side, there's a positive side of things as well. Okay, there's people in the front line who have got a bit of they have got sensibility. They know what they're talking about. Media ਨਾਲ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰਦੇ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਿੱਥੇ ਅਸੀਂ stand ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ. But ਨਾਲ ਦੀ ਨਾਲ what I want to mention also is that what I see as well, leadership ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਹੈ at this present point, right? Because at the moment you've got people from Punjab, you've got people from Haryana, you're from Rajasthan. We need to think that ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ state ਦੀ government ਹੈ, state government ਹੈ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਕਿੰਨਾ ਕੁ ਹਿੱਸਾ ਹੈ ਇਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ of actually supporting or backing the farmers. Overall India ਦੀ government ਨਾਲ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਟੱਕਰਾ ਤਾਂ ਲੈ ਲਿਆ, but leadership ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਹੈ at this present point. ਅਗਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ leadership ਰੱਖੋਗੇ ਨਾ ਕਿਤੇ ਨਾ ਕਿਤੇ you can form a new party with new people ਜਿਹੜੀ ਜਨਤਾ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਚੱਲੇ, with the citizens of India, they work. Because now being the protest in Delhi, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਦਿੱਲੀ ਦੇ ਲੋਕਲ ਲੋਕ ਆ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਹੁਣ ਦੇਖ ਰਹੇ ਆ ਕਿ ਯਾਰ ਸਿੱਖ ਤੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਬੜੇ ਦਰਿਆ ਦਿਲ ਬੰਦੇ, ਜਿੱਥੇ ਲਾਠੀਆਂ ਵੀ ਖਾ ਰਹੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਲੰਗਰ ਵੀ ਦੇ ਰਹੇ ਆ, they're seeing the humanity side, ਤੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਇਦਾਂ ਹੈ that it's kind of melting people's heart as well at the same time, ਹਨਾ? So ਡਰ ਵੀ ਹੈਗਾ ਆ, ਪ੍ਰਾਊਡ ਵੀ ਬੰਦਾ ਮਹਿਸੂਸ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ at the same time that all kind of the ਜਿਹੜੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਦੀ ਚਲਾਈ ਹੋਈ ਸਿੱਖੀ ਹੈ 550 ਸਾਲ ਅਸੀਂ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੇ ਰਲ ਕੇ ਮਨਾਇਆ end of the day, but ਕਿਤੇ ਨਾ ਕਿਤੇ I think the awareness of that side of thing has opened up people's mind as well, that that what is happening is kind of showing people the mirror at the same time.
Definitely.
ਜਿਹੜੇ ਲੋਕ ਉੱਥੇ ਕੰਮਕਾਰ ਵੀ ਕਰਦੇ in Delhi as well, people who are locally workers there, then doing the jobs. At the break times, they're coming and helping with them to make langar.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest thing, what's come in my eyes, which is quite to be proud about.
Definitely should be proud of that. I just love the fact that the whole community, everybody at that protest site has come together. I've seen pictures and videos of poor children that live in Delhi that are getting to have langar. I think there was a post I read about a girl that she said she'd eaten kheer for the first time, so ਸਿੱਖ ਉੱਥੇ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਵੀ ਉੱਥੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਖਾਣਾ ਖਿਲਾਉਂਦੇ ਆ, that's just something so heartwarming to see, and it's just brilliant.
ਦੇਖੋ ਜੀ, ਉਹ ਤਾਂ ਅੱਗੇ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਕਿ ਯਾਰ, ਉਹ ਤਾਂ ਅੱਗੇ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ already ਕਿ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਭਾਵੇਂ ਬਿੱਲ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਫਟ ਜਾਏ ਜਾਂ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਵੀ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਛੱਡ ਕੇ ਨਾ ਜਾਓ. This is what they're saying. The people who are in the slums or homeless, ਉਹ ਮਿੰਨਤਾਂ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਕਿ ਯਾਰ ਸਿੰਘੋ, ਭਾਵੇਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਬਿੱਲ ਮਿਲੇ ਜਾਂ ਨਾ ਮਿਲੇ, right, ਪਰ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਨਾ ਛੱਡ ਕੇ ਜਾਇਓ. ਜੋ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਆ, you kind of ਸਾਨੂੰ ਥੋੜਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਹੌਸਲਾ ਮਿਲ ਗਿਆ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਆਉਣ ਦਾ.
ਮੈਂ ਇਹੀ ਕਹਿ ਰਹੀ ਸੀ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਕਿ ਇੰਡੀਅਨ ਮੀਡੀਆ ਕੈਨ ਐਟਲੀਸਟ ਕਵਰ ਦੈਟ, ਹੋਰ ਕੁਝ ਨਾ ਕਰੇ, ਚਲੋ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇਹੀ ਕਵਰ ਕਰਾ ਦਿਓ ਕਿ ਉੱਥੇ ਹਿਊਮੈਨਿਟੀ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਦਿਖਾਈ ਜਾ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ. ਲੋਕੀ ਇੱਕ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਪ੍ਰੋਟੈਸਟ ਨੂੰ ਕਵਰ ਕਰਨਾ, ਨਾ ਕਰੋ, ਉਹ ਤਾਂ ਕਵਰ ਕਰੋ ਜੋ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇੰਨੇ ਸਾਲਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ. ਉਹ ਕਿਉਂ ਛੱਡ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ ਤੁਸੀਂ? ਉਹ ਤਾਂ ਕਵਰ ਕਰ ਲਓ ਆ ਕੇ.
I think that's the thing, hana, we're in a very sticky situation, hana, ਜਿਹੜੀ ਮੀਡੀਆ ਵਾ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਦੀ, ਜਿਹੜਾ ਗੁਣ ਆ, ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੈ ਨਾ ਸਾਡੀ ਹਿਸਟਰੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ, ਸਿੱਖੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਲੰਗਰ ਦੀ ਸੇਵਾ ਵਾ, even the peaceful protest, the ਕੀਰਤਨ, the ਪਿਆਰ for ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ and believing, ਕਿਸਾਨ ਉੱਥੇ ਇਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਬੈਠੇ ਆ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਉਹ ਮੰਨਦੇ ਆ ਵੀ ਸਾਡੀ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਨੇ ਸਾਡੀ ਸਹਾਇਤਾ ਕਰਨੀ, there's gonna be end result ਸਾਡੇ ਲਈ ਹੋਣਾ ਵਾ, ਹਨਾ, and that's why we're there, we go with it. ਲੇਕਿਨ what's really sad is that the media doesn't show that, but portrays as something totally different, and it's that catch-22. ਜੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਜੈਕਾਰਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਬੋਲਦੇ ਜੇ ਤੇ ਫਿਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਸਿੱਖ ਨਹੀਂ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਦੇ, ਜਿਹੜਾ ਜਵਾਨ ਆ ਆਰਮੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਵਾ ਤਾਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਜੈਕਾਰਾ ਬੋਲਦੇ ਆ, ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਚੰਗਾ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ. ਜੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਉੱਥੇ ਮੀਡੀਆ ਵਾ ਉਹਨੇ ਉਸੇ ਜੈਕਾਰੇ ਨੂੰ ਬਣਾ ਦੇਣਾ ਵੀ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਕੋਈ ਹੋਰ ਹੀ ਟੈਰਰਿਸਟ ਅਤਵਾਦੀ ਰੂਟ ਆ, and it's really sad. I just feel like we are in a catch-22 situation.
It's a lack of education adding to that as well, because kite na kite, the awareness of the actual culture, of the actual, when it comes down to Sikhi and everything. I mean, I remember back a few years ago, last when I visited India 12 years ago, I was coming across people that, that, you're born and bred in the UK, but how come you're so, involved in your faith? ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ culture ਨਾਲ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜੁੜੇ ਹੋ? You should be modern people, because I was shocked when I went Jalandhar. I saw a lot of people were dressed up very, modernly. The over modern, ਮੈਂ ਕਹਿ ਸਕਦਾ, right? But what I see is that I always have this conversation with many people, even businessmen, everyone, that people who are living outside India know more about their culture compared to people sat in India. ਹੁਣ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਗੱਲ ਆਉਂਦੀ ਹੈ, for example, ਦਿੱਲੀ, ਮੁੰਬਈ, everywhere, right? ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਸਿਰਫ ਇਹੀ ਪਤਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰਾ ਹੈ ਜੀ, ਉੱਥੇ ਲੰਗਰ ਮਿਲਦਾ ਫ੍ਰੀ ਚ.
ਹਾਂਜੀ.
ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਪਤਾ, they don't really know the actual in-depth history. There's two sides of it. Either they're not interested, or it's totally irrelevant from them, or the other thing, they don't want to know.
Yeah.
I think we're still a minority, and we have to remember that we are, even in India, we are still a minority. It just so happens that as farmers, we're not a minority, we're the majority.
Absolutely.
But let me add something to that, Sukhi.
nobody else, and from all the other farmers that have come on board now wouldn't have come on board. And that unity is amazing. And what's amazing is that how the media plays. And I watched a video, and actually I think it was on the SIKH channel. A Haryanavi farmer was there, and he actually changed the media. He talked about media, and he said, "ਅਸੀਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਕਿਸਾਨ ਆ, ਅਸੀਂ ਕਿਸਾਨ ਨਾਲ ਹੀ ਆਏ ਆ." And obviously he was talking in the Haryanvi dialect, and he goes, "ਜੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਹੱਕ ਦਾ ਮੰਗਣਾ ਮਤਲਬ ਅਸੀਂ ਖਾਲਿਸਤਾਨੀ ਆ, ਤਾਂ ਅੱਜ ਅਸੀਂ ਹਰਿਆਣੇ ਦੇ ਵੀ ਖਾਲਿਸਤਾਨੀ ਆ." Because that's what's happened. Media portrayed the farmers originally. Beginning ਤੇ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਸੀਗਾ ਟੈਰਰਿਸਟ ਆ ਜਾਂ ਇਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਕਿਸਾਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਪ੍ਰੋਟੈਸਟ ਤੋਂ ਕਵਰ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ ਕਰਦੇ. And I think that to me was so powerful that finally somebody was saying, actually, okay then, I'm a Hindu farmer, ਪਰ ਅੱਜ ਮੈਂ ਵੀ ਖਾਲਿਸਤਾਨੀ ਹਾਂ ਜੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਹੱਕ ਨੂੰ ਮੰਗਣ ਦਾ ਮਤਲਬ ਇਹ ਆ. And that's the coverage we need to say, well, actually, no, we're peaceful. We are here as farmers, not as something that the media is portraying us. And we need to be careful everywhere that we make sure that that's the message. And in India, it's amazing. In Delhi, it is about Kisaan Ekta, and how everybody comes together. And it doesn't matter ਵੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਆ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਿੱਖ ਆ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਹਿੰਦੂ ਆ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਮੁਸਲਿਮ ਆ, ਸਾਰੇ ਇਕੱਠੇ ਹੋਏ ਆ. And it is about Ekta. If we could do that here, it would just, in the Western world, it would just blow the minds of everybody.
Absolutely.
And it's how do we do that is what we need to look at. That's the next step. We need to look at how can we get everyone together.
Fantastic. Thank you
think,
all so
can
much.
I just add something to that? Can I just quickly add something to that? Just quickly about Jaikare Lona. Okay, like I said, I'm born and brought up, grew up in India. So Jaikara, ਜਦੋਂ ਆਪਣੀ Indian army ਕਿਸੇ ਵੀ ਜੰਗ ਤੇ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ, doesn't matter ਕਿਹੜੀ branch ਹੈ Indian army ਦੀ, they always do Jaikara. ਉਦੋਂ ਉਹ Jaikara ਸਭ ਦੇ ਮਤਲਬ to praise them or whatever, to give them confidence. ਅੱਜ ਉਹ Jaikare ਜਦੋਂ ਲੱਗ ਰਿਹਾ, ਉਹਨੂੰ totally different views ਨਾਲ ਦੇਖਿਆ ਜਾ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ. ਔਰ ਇੱਕ ਚੀਜ਼ ਹੋਰ ਮੈਂ ਕਹੂੰਗੀ, ਮੇਰੇ ਇੱਕ ਫਰੈਂਡ ਨੇ ਐਕਚੁਅਲੀ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਕੁਝ ਭੇਜਿਆ ਸੀ, ਮਤਲਬ ਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਪੁੱਛਿਆ ਤੂੰ ਤਾਂ ਹਰ ਵਾਰੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਿਉਂ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ? ਉਹਨੇ ਬੜੀ ਵਧੀਆ ਗੱਲ ਕਹੀ, ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਜ਼ਮੀਨ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗਾ ਪਰ ਮੇਰੇ ਕੋਲ ਜ਼ਮੀਰ ਹੈਗਾ. And in English, let me tell you, he said, I don't have land, but I have a conscience. I know exactly what's right for us. And that's what we need to tell people.
Fantastic. Thank you all so much for joining today. So I am going to just quickly come back to each and every one of you for your final message, what you would like to say to the farmers. ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਇੱਥੇ ਕਿਸਾਨ ਬੈਠੇ ਹੋਏ ਆ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕੀ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਚਾਹੋਗੇ? So Raj, I'm going to come to you first. Just quickly, how does it make you feel seeing, you mentioned your grandma was with you, so how does it make you feel seeing our elders sleeping outside on that cold floor?
It makes me feel very uncomfortable because I'm sitting in a nice warm house during the winter months, and I'm watching on TV that I can see that there's elderly people on the streets in India where they're protesting in the freezing cold with only like a couple layers on, and God knows what would happen. Like they could they could die from that, but death is not on their mind for this. The only thing that is on their mind, the only thing that is set on their mind now is to make their voices heard and to get their rights back, their farmers' rights back.
Keep on raising awareness, keep explaining to your friends you mentioned that don't know about this, keep using your social media because you're doing a fantastic job. To be very proud.
Yeah, because obviously I don't have a big social media page. I know some people in my class that have big social media pages. I know a lot of people that know a lot of people, which then they can just keep on reposting that, and then that will keep on going back to somebody, and the message will be heard. And then it's not about if you're a farmer or not, and it's not about if you've come from different castes, because that's got nothing to do with this. The only thing, we all just need to come together, and we all just need to make our voices heard. Because I was talking to my cousin the other day, and then we were just talking about look how many people came and have raised awareness about Black Lives Matter, and then you can see how many people have come to together to about the farmers. And then when you see schools like Grovale School, they were going to say that they were going to raise awareness, but they stopped it all of a sudden. But then when it came to other protests like Black Lives Matter, obviously they did do that. So there's probably like something going on to say that you're not going to raise awareness about this, but you're going to raise awareness about that.
It's fantastic. Like I said, you've raised awareness today. No doubt people will be listening to you today and taking something from you. So it doesn't matter about the size of your social media platform. Even if you tell one friend, that person may then go on to tell another person and vice versa, and you're raising awareness in that way. So keep up the great work. Hey, Raj. Rose, coming over to yourself, what would your final message be? Rose, I think your mic has been turned off. I can't quite hear you. I know it's a very important message that you want to give, so please just try again because we didn't hear you then. Rose, can you hear me? I don't think I can hear Rose. So Sukhi, if you can hear me, we'll come to you first and then we can go back to Rose. Sukhi, what would your final message be?
I think we need to continue with Kisaan Ekta in India and obviously here. And I think, I want to say we India ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਾਰੇ ਆਪਣੀ ਬੁਲੰਦ ਆਵਾਜ਼ ਜਾਰੀ ਰੱਖੋ, keep it going. We're all behind you. ਅਸੀਂ ਸਾਰੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਪਿੱਛੇ ਆ. ਅਸੀਂ ਸਾਰੇ, and spread on social media. We need to spread it on social media, but we also need to maybe sit down and create something in the UK, a body which can get this message out together, and we put it together and sit down, this is how we're going to do it, and do a real good constructive push and try and get it into media. We've got the channels here, but it's how we can move it into the English media and make more awareness there. I think that's the next steps for us. We've got to keep creating awareness, and obviously if there's anything that we can do, let's kind of keep sending the message. I know we've got Khalsa Aid in India, we've got lots of groups from England that are there currently doing their seva. And if we can all be part of that seva, then I think, we can't ask for more. And we are blessed. We're blessed to be here. And that's what we need to remember. We're blessed by Wahiguru, by our family, by our farmers who've brought us to the point we live in the UK, where we can raise awareness. Because if we weren't here and if social media didn't exist, this message would in a budget daba deni sigi. We've been very lucky because of social media that nobody can now debar the message. And we've seen it historically. It gets covered, it gets blanketed, and we don't get it. We now have the opportunity, like SIKH Channel and like the rallies, which I do agree with, just let's make them more let's get a bigger message out. That's my personal kind of message to everyone. But social media, we can all share. There is no reason for us not to share on our social media. And that's the first step. If we can do videos rather than just post and explain our feelings, I think we attract more kind of people. There's more communication, and we can probably speak out to people outside of our community if we can put our voice on there.
Great message. And like I said, SIKH Channel is the media platform there for people to use. So if anybody's listening to Sukhi or listening to myself, do get in touch with us, either ourselves directly or directly to the SIKH Channel. Use this platform, and let's continue to raise awareness. Baji, coming over to yourself, what would you like to say?
Message what I want to give out to everyone who are watching us at the moment, just that, although we're getting involved in rallies and protests and everything across the globe, right? We need to be very, very patient at this present point. Sabr te santokh hona chahiye ਸਾਡੇ ਅੰਦਰ ਇਸ ਵਕਤ, because we can't really take a step like this ਜਿਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਨੂੰ ਹਰਜਾਨਾ ਭਰਨਾ ਪਵੇ. One person does something, it gets blamed on everyone. I mean, when I remember when the London rally happened, and I think 6 people must have got arrested or something, wherever. ਉਸੇ ਦਿਨ ਨੈਸ਼ਨਲ ਟੀਵੀ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਦੀ ਉਸੇ ਵੇਲੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਰਿਪੋਰਟ ਕੱਢਤੀ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਆਹ ਕੰਮ ਕੀਤਾ. So ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਬੰਦਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ who is very passionate, wants to come into rallies, wants to take part in protests, please do not do something like this ਜਿਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਤੇ ਆਵੇ, ਤੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਿਸਾਨ ਉੱਥੇ ਠੰਡ 'ਚ ਉੱਥੇ ਮਰ ਰਹੇ ਵਿਚਾਰੇ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਹੋਰ ਜ਼ਿੰਦਗੀ ਔਖੀ ਹੋਵੇ. That's going to be the hardest thing, where we're out here doing things like this. Why do they suffer? Why they suffer? Well,
Yeah.
we need to be very patient at this present point. Because gussa har ek bande de andar hai. Whatever's been happening, we're blaming on one individual who's the Prime Minister of India. But
ਹਾਂਜੀ
ਥੋੜਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਨਿਮਰਤਾ ਵੀ ਰੱਖਣੀ ਪੈਣੀ ਨਾਲ ਇਦਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਗੱਲ ਬਣਨੀ like ਥੋੜਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਨਾ we have to be when we've got a responsibility on us.
ਹਾਂਜੀ
Once we're in the front line doing protests or rallies on a subject, we're
yeah
technically a representative of that. ਸ਼ਕਲ ਸਾਡੀ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੇ ਦੇਖਣੀ, ਕਿਸਾਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਥੋੜੀ ਦੇਖਣੀ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੇ.
yeah yeah
So I
no
think we need to be a bit patient and do things, be part of it. But it's ਚੰਗੇ ਢੰਗ ਨਾਲ ਅਸੀਂ we actually get the message out there, because we're egging
yeah
on national media. We're
yeah
technically doing them favor, whole badnaam kar rahe hain ਹੋਰ ਇਹਦਾ ਨੂੰ ਕਰੋਗਾ. So we need to be a bit patient at this present point. That's basically what I want to say.
brilliant message, and hopefully we've got Rose back on now. I think she was having difficulties with the mic. Rose, are you there?
Yeah, I'm there. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you. So ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੀ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਚਾਹੋਗੇ,
I'm really
especially
sorry.
ਸਾਡੀਆਂ ਬਜ਼ੁਰਗ ਮਾਵਾਂ ਬੈਠੀਆਂ?
ਹਾਂਜੀ, I think ਮੇਰਾ ਮੈਸੇਜ I think ਇੱਕ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਮੈਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਚਾਹਨੀ ਆ, ਜਿਹੜਾ ਕਿ ਮੈਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਨੋਟਿਸ ਕੀਤਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਆਪਣੇ ਲੋਕ ਆ ਨਾ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਜਦੋਂ ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਪ੍ਰੋਟੈਸਟ ਦੇ ਅਗੇਂਸਟ ਬੋਲ ਰਿਹਾ, ਸਪੈਸ਼ਲੀ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਕੰਗਨਾ ਨੇ ਕੀਤਾ, ਉਹਨੂੰ ਇੰਨਾ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਟ੍ਰੈਂਡ ਕਰਤਾ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਟੌਪ ਤੇ ਚਲਾ ਗਿਆ. ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪਲੀਜ਼ ਅਗਰ ਕੋਈ ਨੈਗੇਟਿਵ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਮੈਸੇਜ ਆ ਰਿਹਾ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਉੱਥੇ ਖਤਮ ਕਰ ਦਿਓ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਗਲਤ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ, ਉਹਨੂੰ ਟ੍ਰੈਂਡ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ. ਅਗਰ ਕੋਈ ਉਹਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਪੋਜ਼ਿਟਿਵ ਆਪਣੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਵਿਊ ਦੇ ਦਿਓ, ਠੀਕ ਆ, ਬਟ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਟ੍ਰੈਂਡ ਨਾ ਕਰੋ, ਬਿਕਾਜ਼ ਉਹ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਬੈਠੇ ਉੱਥੇ ਉਹ ਸਿਰਫ ਪਪੂਲੈਰਿਟੀ ਲੈਣ ਲਈ ਹੀ ਬੈਠੇ ਆ ਕਿ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪਪੂਲਰ ਹੋਣਾ ਹੈ, ਨੈਗੇਟਿਵ ਮੈਸੇਜ ਦੇ ਕੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਭੜਕਾ ਕੇ. ਉੱਥੇ ਲਾਈਕ ਭਾਜੀ ਸੈਡ, ਨਿਮਰਤਾ ਬਹੁਤ ਵੱਡੀ ਚੀਜ਼ ਹੈ. ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਸੁਣ ਲਿਆ, ਠੀਕ ਹੈ, ਉਹਨੂੰ ਖਤਮ ਕਰੋ, ਕਿਸੇ ਹੋਰ ਨੂੰ ਨਾ ਭੇਜੋ, ਬਿਕਾਜ਼ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸੁਣ ਲਿਆ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਹੋਰ ਨੂੰ ਕਿਉਂ ਸੁਣਾਉਣਾ ਚਾਹ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ ਉਹਨੂੰ, ਠੀਕ ਹੈ, ਉੱਥੇ ਖਤਮ ਕਰੋ. ਐਂਡ ਜਿੰਨੀਆਂ ਸਾਡੀਆਂ ਭੈਣਾਂ ਮਾਵਾਂ ਸਭ ਉੱਥੇ ਬੈਠੀਆਂ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਇੱਕੋ ਹੀ ਮੈਸੇਜ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਸਾਰੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਆ. ਅਸੀਂ ਉੱਥੇ ਪ੍ਰੈਜ਼ੈਂਟ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੋ ਸਕਦੇ, ਪਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਇੱਥੇ ਬਹਿ ਕੇ, ਆਪਣੇ ਘਰਾਂ 'ਚ ਬਹਿ ਕੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਲਈ ਜਿੰਨਾ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਜਿੰਨੀ ਅਵੇਅਰਨੈਸ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਉਹ ਕਰਾਂਗੇ. And please everyone, like you said, doesn't matter whether you have one follower or millions of followers. Please do post if you feel passionately about it, because that one person who'll read might change their mind and might want to support you as well. That's all I would like to say.
Fantastic. Thank you all so much for taking time out of your day to speaking to us, and speaking of such an important issue and raising awareness. Hopefully people that have been watching, you've learnt something, or you feel passionate about sharing what is happening currently in Punjab. So if anybody's watching, if you want to use, like I said, SIKH Channel, it's your platform. Please come on and use it to raise awareness on this issue. And like Baji says, we need to make sure we are all, being calm. It's patience, because it's going to take time. Remember, these protesters have been sitting at that border now for quite some time. So sanu sabr vi chahiਦਾ ਆ ਤਾਂ hopefully ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਿਸਾਨ ਆਪਣਾ ਹੱਕ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਵਾਪਸ ਮੁੜਨਗੇ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਨੂੰ. But once again, thank you so much. ਇੱਥੇ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਫਤਿਹ ਬੁਲਾਉਂਦੀ ਆ. ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ,
ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ.